welcome to our channel. My name's Jack. We are here at Mad Aquariums setting up a new Aquascape for you today. And I want to apologize straight up the front. This is one of our first videos, so hopefully we get better and better as we go through. Okay, so we've gone to Aqua and we collected some wood. If you guys are on our Facebook page, you would have seen a post, and this wood here that I've collected, we sort of did a bit of a dryscape, so to speak, in the car park of Aqua. These awesome bits of wood have just been sitting in a pile waiting for me to get to them and get them into the tank. Unfortunately, I don't remember which way they all went, but we've got some form of recollection as to how everything's going to go together. So we're going to take all these beautiful woods, and some of these guys are like easy, probably about 60 centimeters long, all the way up to about 90 centimeters long on this guy. This guy's pretty cool. It has got a bit of a wobble. We'll fix that as well as we go. I'll show you the tank that we're going to put it in. So over here we've got our AquaSys 315 rimless aquarium. The AquaSys 315 is 120 long, it is 55 wide, and it is a total of 53 high. So a little bit of an odd shape, almost a 4x2x2, but just shy of it. Okay, so we've put our Leadstar WRGB AQ Pro light on top of this one here. This is the first WRGB AQ Pro from Leadstar that we've used. We've used the S Pro down the far end on another tank that you guys have probably already seen. But this one, just like the other one, they're both WRGB. This one's got a higher load of lumens to it, so it's technically more intense. And we can actively change each and every color if need be, and we can turn it what time to turn on, what time to turn off, ramp times, all the rest of it. No point you putting your wood and rock in first and then putting your soil, because all that's going to do is that beautiful rock is just going to get covered by soil, and you're not going to see the full extent of that rock or that piece of wood. So we'll start off with a bit of base substrate first, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, so like I said earlier, we're going to put some substrate in, and generally our soil is generally going to be enough for our plants, but we need some height, and sometimes it's easier and more beneficial, and in some cases cheaper, to use a different material other than soil to help you lift up that substrate. So what we're deciding to use is Seachem Matrix. Now the reason why I want to use Seachem Matrix is the water can flow through it. It's actually a man-made product that you can actually have a good look at that there. Now 1 litre will hold around 700 square meters of surface area. So what that means is it's going to give us a lot of homes for our good bacteria to live. So what Matrix is going to provide is anaerobic bacteria to help us with our nitrate cycle, our ammonia spikes, our nitrite spikes, and our nitrate spikes throughout the aquarium while it's setting up as well. They will take about 2 weeks to seed, so you're still going to get that initial impact, which the plants should hopefully absorb, and the nitrate cycles should progress like normal, and then this will help us going forth. So what I'm going to put these in is some Dymax bags. Now the reason I'm using the Dymax bags is they're quite coarse. So this is a small one, and I do have a medium one open as well. This is a small one, and this is a medium sized one. So you can see there's quite a bit of size difference. I believe that I could put easily maybe 1.5 to 2.5 litres in each one of these. But we're not going to do that. We're only going to put 1 litre in something like this, and maybe a 1.5 in something of the medium size. Now the reason for it is you want to be able to mold them around your wood and stuff as well. All right, let's get them filled. All right, so super simple. We got our matrix here, and sometimes when you pour your matrix in, you'll see some dust coming out of it. It's completely safe and harmless, as well as to your fish. Because it's a man-made product in a container, as they are getting shipped, moved, so on and so forth, they do tend to rub on themselves. I've never washed these when I've used them, because that dust sort of goes away, or it comes through your filter if we're putting it in our filters, and you'll see a cloud come through. But that pretty much clears up within hours. So I've never really washed them, so I don't think I'm going to do so this time. But feel free to wash them out if you feel more comfortable, and it might help you more with the wrapping it around a piece of wood or something like that as well. Okay, so we got our bags of matrix here, a few more made up just around on the side there. We're going to start adding them in and see how we go. Okay, so we got some of them in there just to help us prepare. So we're going to bring over some wood and start trying to put it all together. And hopefully these guys will be able to help us with our positioning a bit. So as I'm positioning my pieces, I want to try and get them to point towards this center. And I'm going to have some more that are going to be pointing to, sorry, the corner, and some more pointing to the other corner. I'm liking the way this main piece is sitting at the moment, which is pretty good. But what I've got to remember as well is when I put some more pieces throughout, that we can actually get into cleaning it. Because if we can't clean it, then it's not going to look the best either. So we've got to keep that in mind, so that way the cleanup crew can make sure that they can get into all the parts of the tank to be able to keep it nice and clean for the showroom. I'll keep going. Okay, so I've taken the other two pieces out because I'm going to need a little bit more stability, and they're a bit short, so if I put them in now and using the matrix sort of hold them in place, once I fill up with soil, like I said earlier, the rock or the wood, half of it's going to be under soil as it gets filled, so we don't want that. So we want to have as much of that beautiful detail showing as we can. So I'm happy with the main piece and its position, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to try and work on the other side and get the other main piece going as well, and then go from there. But I have been thinking of, rather than doing a V shape to come out to both corners, just by looking at the woods, I might actually both travel in the one direction. Yeah, so let's give that a go and see how it goes. Just remember, when you're building something, no matter how it looks like when you first built it, it will change, or what you've got in your head will change, and that's okay. When you're building something like this, there's a lot of variables that you want to make sure that you sort of account for. So obviously when I was building it on a car park outside on roughly a 4-foot long panel, when you get it into the tank, it might still not fit, and that's the reality of it. So you got to try and adjust as you go as well. All right, so let's try getting that other piece in. Alright, so I do like that arch. I swapped it around a bit and played with it a bit more, but I think that sits quite nice, and just added some more matrix at the back there and a nice piece of wood here to sort of hold it in play. But I do want it to sort of head in this direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly turn this fella here to start giving me that curve to that end. The only thing I'm struggling with is this piece here. So part of this main piece is sticking up a bit high. It's going to be looking out of place because the piece of wood doesn't just grow out of thin air like that. Normally it'll follow the path of the ground. So I'm just going to reshuffle again and just see if I can get that one to sit a little bit better for me, and then we'll see how that goes. Alright, I like the way this is sitting at the moment, but this one here is giving me a bit of grief in the sense that it doesn't want to just stay where I want it to stay. So when you get like little pieces of woods and stuff, you can jam it into some of the crevices down here. This just goes to prove that you can't just always plug and play. There is a lot of moving and maneuvering to make sure you get them in the right spots. Okay, well that actually stayed. So the matrix has weighed that down for me. What I can do is I can brace this with a few other pieces, glue it together, and that should really work. All right. I want to try and keep this little cave here so people can stare through it once the scape is done. Okay, so I'm very happy with the left-hand side now. We've glued in the last two pieces there. There is some more detailed rock and wood we want to put through, but for now I'm going to start on this side here and get this area is looking a bit bland, so I'm going to look into that as well, and maybe some detail pieces around here. And I think this side here is quite empty. The other part that I think is empty is down here a bit. As we go, we'll get it sorted that way. All right, so I might start on this side with that back end. I'm thinking somewhere around there. Preferably not on the glass for the cleaning side of things, on the back end. So what we might do is just take that piece off. So we'll just cut that off and bring it back in. All right, so I've just cut that off on the back. Okay, so we've added a few pieces on the side here. We're going to add all three bits and glue them down using our copper seal. Okay, so we grab our piece and we chuck it in place and we look for our contact points. Once we have our contact points, we put our copper seal adhesive on. And for this one, we're using the Mad Aquariums liquid glue. So we'll spray that on top as well. And then it'll start smoking. Once the smoking stops, that's when it's all active. I normally go over it a little bit more just to make sure I've got no more smoke coming through. But once all the smoke is finished, it's generally dry and ready to go. All right, so we got that back piece in here. The front piece is all secured it for some detail heading into the ground here. We are missing a little bit here, which I'll work with. But out the back, it looks a bit empty as well. So when you're looking at the aquarium, you want to feel some sort of depth throughout it, regardless of how big or small the scape is. So what I want to do is add some smaller bits around the back to make that valley sort of thing look a lot further back in depth. So sort of tricking the eye to make it look like it's a lot further back than what it seems. Okay, so in order for me to be able to finish that end, what I'm going to need to do is add the soil on the other half so that I can see what I'm playing with. Because they're smaller pieces, you don't want to glue them in and then all of a sudden you pour soil and it covers it. So we'll go ahead and pour a couple of bags of the Niso soil in the back end here as well, and also taper it to the back. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to continue on pouring some soil through here and get it all leveled out here and then push any back that I need to. But I'm liking the height on this end. I believe it needs to be a little bit higher on the soil side on that. So this is where your spades and brushes come in handy. They're not just a great excuse to buy something, but I really like it and I think it's cool, and using one makes me feel cool. So I like using the spades. And then we've got the Aqua Vitro brushes. So these brushes will help you to be able to dust off any soils and stuff on top that aren't needed, to get into those little crevices and discard it from there. Alright, now that I've flattened up my soil, I'm going to add some of those detail pieces in there, and I'm also going to add some rocks in amongst it as well to elevate the scape a little bit so it's not just a dark wood sort of scape. So we'll start adding a few of these rocks into it as well. A good trick if you're trying to add some small pieces in the back for detail, but you've got nowhere to attach them to a small rock first. So once you've attached it, you can just place it where you need it to go. We'll wait for that smoking. This will give you a good indication how quick it works. And that's it there. So that way I can place that where I need it to go. Another good trick when using stones, feel free to grab different size stones, but mainly don't forget to get some really small pieces of the stone. We're lucky we've got this one. Some of the other ones you don't really get that option, but hit them with a hammer, break them down, crush them down to get some real fine bits, which do great for detail, but not just detail, to use in the background to make that depth look even better for you. Okay, so I found a couple more pieces that we wouldn't mind adding. I believe this piece here, because of the curve inside it, it's really going to fill up this empty space somewhere here. I'll just lean it there for the minute if it stays. And this one here will help with the extra detail down the bottom here. That actually looks quite good as it is. Or we can turn it around and make it face upwards as well. But I think maybe if I give it that slight curve, they both look nice actually, both ways. I wish you guys were here to help, but this piece has quite a few uses in it, but I think that's where I'm going to end up sitting it. And then that'll give me a nice little pocket in here to grow some extra plants in as well. I'll just add a bit more soil into that as I go. And that'll give me that nice little pocket inside here to be able to plant, give me some steps on the way up. And I think this one will end up getting glued to this one here. Also, using a lot of these little twigs and stuff, you can add a heap of detail in through your scape just by placing them into the ground. Like so. I actually quite like a couple of these, so I might add them in now. I think this side's empty. So because this side's empty, I want to try and get something that sort of follows the angle or the curve that I've got in everything. As you can see what I've done here. So what I'm thinking is trying to find something in this sort of spot here to be able to fill up this void up here. I wouldn't mind it coming up to not as high as this point here, so I want to keep it lower than that point there because we've got this piece here, but I want it to come down to here. So I need to find this piece. We are running a bit low. We do have a new shipment due to arrive tomorrow morning, but I don't want to waste this opportunity. So I'm going to look for another piece that I could potentially use. This one here, this Dimax wood, it's a medium size, but this has sort of got the curve that what we're trying to achieve in the main tank. So what I'm going to do is, I think this will fit in nicely. So I'm going to go sit this one in and see how it comes out. This one seems to want to fit just nicely. So even without holding it, I can sort of balance it there. So what we can do is, in instances like this, is use our zip ties. So a zip tie can go in to give you a helping hand when you've got a piece of wood or something, or rock, that doesn't want to stay in place. What I could do is I could sit it where I want to sit it and zip tie it in place. Now, once I zip tie it in place, I can make sure I'm happy with it, which I don't know how it looks for you guys there at the moment. But it looks like it's part of the scape already, which is really, really good. I was actually worried about these pieces coming off here, but I might be able to grow something on that to make it look a bit, or we can cut it off later down the track as well. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked with that. So what I'm going to do is, now that that's zip tied into place, it's still got the move, so I don't want to muck around with it too much, but that gives you now the chance to use your Composil and your liquid glue just to put some anchoring points in there. And by doing so, you'll be able to add more anchoring points without being worried about losing the piece or letting the piece move. All right, so traditionally I'd be able to get around it a bit better because there's obviously not two tanks on the side there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move these on either side here to allow me some space to get in. So, now while that, I've done a couple of pieces there. If I was to take this zip tie off, it will not move. That's in solid just with those couple of pieces. But those couple of points are really one-sided. So what's going to happen is it will sort of snap off if it gets that momentum. So we want to be able to put some on this side as well, and potentially some on the back to give it 3 actual contact points, so it makes a stronger bond. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so now that I've done a couple of seals there, I'm pretty confident with it not moving. I'm going to go ahead and cut this zip tie off. That can go away. And in there solid. So that ain't going to move. So I've made everything solid so it doesn't move, and some people are a bit like, oh, do you really have to glue it all in? Because, you know, most pieces will hold together. Yes, I found that if I don't glue it in and I leave it there, eventually the scape will change as I do maintenances on it. So therefore, it's not going to stay the same. Because the pieces are loose and can move, they tend to get shifted or moved with water changes, cleaning, so on and so forth. This way, it's a nice firm surface. You can give it a good scrub, a good clean with your brushes, in anything that really needs anything. Even your rocks and stuff, if you need to get in there with a toothbrush, if you don't like the algae. Personally, I don't mind it going a little bit algae driven on the rocks. I think it gives it a bit more of a natural look. So I don't like them super clean, but in reality, you can do anything you want to do. It's your tank, right? So, all right, so that one's in, and I'm really, really happy with it. So I have added a little bit more detail in the back corners because I want that reflection image that is on either side of this tank to give me a different image. I'll grab the camera and I'll see if I can show you guys at home. But when you're looking at the tank from head on, you want to see different images on the side screen. So if you plant everything two-dimensional and forward, this will look exactly the same as the scape. So your plants will be growing and it'll look like this piece is there, which you'll get here. But if I do in the corners in the back here a little bit extra detail, it will take that away from us. Let me just give you an idea. So that's what I've added, just some rocks at the back there. There's going to be some plants. I'm going to put some plants in behind it as well. Some shorter ones here and longer ones at the back there. And what that's going to do is, if you can see it in the reflection there, it's already giving you a separate image. You can't see those rocks from the front, but in that image it's going to look totally, totally different, like it's a different outlay. Same with this one, you'll see the couple of rocks up the back there, and that's something that you can't see in the scape when you're looking at it forward. All right, so I'm super happy where it's at the moment, and I'm ready to go. Hopefully you guys like it at home. Please make sure you like and subscribe down the bottom so you can keep up to date with our oncoming videos. There's going to be a lot more tutorials and stuff as well for beginners of how to plant, how to keep your plants, so on and so forth, even how to gravel vac your aquarium. So we want to do more of that in the future. So like and subscribe down the bottom so that we can reach a few more people and hopefully spread the word of what we do here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plant the tank. So let's start planting. Okay, so we've got all our plants. What we're going to do is we're going to prepare the plants, which I will do another video on how to do so. But for now, I'm going to fast track that part. We've got our plants in our tissue cultures, our mosses in our tubs, and we've got some plants in pots as well. and some on stones that will take off and plant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start having a plan is a great start, but I'm going to put mainly hair grass throughout the bottom and through the center here. Even though it's a pathway, I want it to be a grass pathway. I don't want it to be a sand pathway. It's not what I was going for. And I'm going to put some of the Trident Java throughout these two, and then all the other bits and pieces in between. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the planting now and get it all started. Okay, so now that we're ready to plant, there's a few things I need. Scissors to cut any excess roots or bad leaves off any plants, a pair of tweezers, and some Mad Aquariums gel glue. The gel glue is really good for your plants, adding it to your woods or rock, and it's a nice gel coating so it doesn't run and give you those streaks. So I've also got my Aqua straight fine tip tweezers, which are also surgical stainless steel, and then I've got my Delua stainless steel fine tip curved. Now these are a lot finer tip between the two, but this one will help me get into certain crevices that the straight won't let me do so. So that's why there's two styles, but even planting openly, some people will use it straight and other people will use the curve. It really personal preference, but the reason why I will always have two is because I can get into certain crevices with the straight, but I'll need the curve to get under something. All right. And I've got a 3 litre bottle of water in a spray bottle. So, first things first, we need to spray down the soil so it can get wet. So when we're planting, it's easier for us and the plants stay. Okay, so I've got my plants prepped. I've kept my soil wet. All that's left to do is to plant. When it comes to your epiphyte plants like your ferns and stuff, I just bunch them up, push them into place and leave them. This makes these plants really easygoing. They adapt quite well because they're an epiphyte plant. Not only that, it's easier planting. If you believe that they're going to float or pull out of where you're putting them in, you can use your Mad Aquariums glue in these instances as well. I would be using the gel Mad glue, add it to the rhizome and stick it directly onto the wood. But when we've got crevices like this where we can put things in, they can just rest in there and they'll attach. Let's say I've got something like this. If I'm doing on here, I would need to use glue, but if I'm doing it in a little hole, I can cram it in there. Okay, so we've wet our soil, we're ready to plant. I've gotten my plants ready. Just to give you a sneak peek, I've chopped up all the hair grass into little pieces. I worked it out, you get about 15 bunches out of each tissue culture, which is really cost effective. I've got about 5 trays of these ready, but not all the hair grass. Just going to see how it goes first before I continue opening them up and using them. Okay, so I've planted a few there. I'm going to start with a few crypts. There's quite a bit of crypt here, but there's a nice little pocket here. I don't want to put anything that's going to grow too tall and that I have to maintain too much. So I'm going to go with some crypt wentii, and I'll patch it in through there as well as an extra little feature. One rule of thumb is if you're going to plant one thing on one side, make sure you plant it on the other. Think of the yin and yang symbol. The black has a white and the white has a black, but the white or the black is stronger on one side than it is the other. So by doing a large patch here, and I'll probably do some more around the sides and a bit at the front, On this side, I'm going to keep it quite lean, so I'm not going to do as much on this side as I am with the crypts on that side. As for the trident, it looks like I've got a little bit more here and a little less here, but I want to maybe add more in here. So I want this side to have more of it than this one on this side. The beauty about crypts, when planting them, if you've got a lot of shade, the crypts will work in shade. They don't mind shade. So, all right, everybody, that's it. We're done. We're going to fill her up now. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and hopefully with more to come. And we will get this filled up and show you the end results.